Getting some mayonnaise.
Hey.
That's how you do it.
Okay.
Look at that. The skill. Incredible.
What are you do?
So we're just getting some meat to head off up to Sea of Cortez. Come to this butcher, the Red Busy's, early in the morning. Pretty cool. This is an indoor market that we found. Fantastic. And some chicken. This is how you bone a chicken. Your hand. Watch this. Here comes the clever bit. Taking the first step with their hands. Try that next time. Wow. I've never seen that. Just done our first lot of bulk provisioning in Lay. Cheapest shop so far. So we thought we'd get stuff here first and then fill the gaps with the other supermarkets. We're provisioning. This is the first load and we're pretty
It's all beer under there.
And we're full.
And lucky we haven't got the old peanut.
Oh, that would have taken lots of loads.
Yeah. It's a pretty smooth day, it's not too wild out there.
See how beautifully I've packed it all? Maybe next time I'll do a better job.
The old ding's pretty full.
Yes!
Chockers to blockers.
Yeah. Let's hope it's not blowy out there.
Nah, it looks pretty good out there. Should be fine. Heading off to Savo. A couple of weeks up in the sea.
We've done all the provisioning, we've got it all on the boat. Now, I've just got to put it all away and find homes for all of this stuff. And this isn't even all of it.
No.
This is just the first bulk load. Woo! It's a lot of stuff. All the stuff to find homes for. And then we head off up the Sea of Cortez for a couple of weeks. What have you got?
The mizzen over on the starboard, the main over to port, and the spinnaker on starboard. So,
what's going on right now? Because we've left La Paz again.
yeah, for the fourth time, waiting on parts, waiting on the water. We're not going to head up to the next part of the journey up to Alaska without a water maker, because we might be at sea for a while. So we're going to get that sorted. I'll just lock this off. But while we're waiting for the water maker, we're going to zip up to Sea Cortez for a couple of weeks, just to try and catch some fish, because fish have been, not many fish. We caught one Spanish mackerel last week, or 2 weeks ago, and that's it. Let's hope we get some, oh, look at these sails. Let's hope we get some fish.
The tomatoes were on special at the supermarket today. And it's very difficult to get canned tomatoes here in Mexico. And when you do find them, the cans are enormous or they're very expensive. So, guess what I'm going to be doing later with all of these tomatoes? Here's a clue. What are you making today, darling?
Bread.
You're doing a different method though.
Yeah, I've been reading up about bread making and how it's supposed to be done and the consistency and what happens with bread and all the intricacies of bread making. Not trying to get too complicated because I don't like getting complicated. But they all say the same thing. You've got to have a wet dough. So as you can see, it's a wet dough. You should always taste it along the way too. Yep, that's dough. And then you bring it in. Bring the flour into it. I'm sure there's a baker or two amongst you, but tell me I'm doing it all wrong. Oh, that's so wet. I think I made it a bit too wet. We have a friend who's a baker, and he made pizza dough over at our house once, and it was like this, wasn't it, Wen?
Yeah. He was an Italian.
Yeah. Umberto. If you're watching this, Umberto, fond memories of your pizza. Look at that. It's like something that's alive. Well, it is alive. It's got yeast in it.
How'd it turn out?
Oh, good, yeah. Just knock it down and form up some bread in some tins and some couple of rolls. Because rolls are always good. Get the air out. One fold. Two folds. Three fold. Taking my little proofing up, commonly known as the engine. Making mozzarella, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow! They've grown a lot.
Yeah.
That's only in about, what, 10 minutes? 15 minutes?
Yeah, that's all. Oh, make some cuts in that. I'm going to try something new, I read.
Oh, wow.
Fairly deep cut, and it forms a fold. And you watch what happens when it comes out. I got everything in here. I got some sun-dried tomatoes happening.
Time's up.
No, not ready.
Came out really well. Now we're going to have some lunch. Tuna rolls with salad.
Wow, I've never seen this many dolphins in one pod. These guys have an interesting fishing technique where they'll throw the cast net, then they'll madly spin around in circles on the panga, and then pull up the cast net. It's really cool to watch. Just watching pelicans fishing never gets tired. There's another boat going in circles. They really hammer. They've got pelicans diving around them. It's really cool.
Well, the pangas are out fishing this morning and they're using a very interesting technique. Definitely group effort. Here we go again, round and round. Wow, interesting way to fish. We arrived at Isla San Francisco last night, just on dark. 10 yachts in this bay. And this is the morning. At breakfast. We're heading to Punta Salina today. Check out these vultures. Only in Mexico. And there's some on that one as well. Magnus just threw this at me. Luckily it's only a pumice stone. Morning.
G'day.
Action.
G'day. Well, the alternator, ta-da, is out once again. Remember we did a fix on it before when the mount broke with a cable tie and glue and things, and it's been working fine ever since. But now I have the parts.
Can you hold them up to the camera, please?
And whenever I buy one part, I always buy two.
Higher. Perfect.
So I always buy two parts. So I've got spares. So that's the little bearing holder, and that's the little clipperoonie that goes with it to the thingo, to the. So replace them. Now I also ordered new bearings, two rear bearings, two front bearings, because they're like, all this was $30, including delivery to LA. And if I was stuck in the middle of nowhere, like up in wherever, somewhere in Indonesia or Asia or Pacific, and needed parts, it would cost me hundreds of dollars to get them sent. So always get two of everything. So now, but I can't replace the bearings because all my sockets on board, two full socket sets, lots of spare sockets. This is 22 mil. What's 22 mil? No, sorry, 23 mil. Nothing's 23 mil. So I've got a 24 and a 22, and I've got others, but it's nothing fits it, and I don't want to round it, because if you round that little puppy, it's a hell of a thing to get out.
So you can't use an AFS?
No, I can't get an AFS in there either. Usually an AFS with a knockometer would sort it, but we can't do that on this one. So the bearings, there's a bit of end play in it, and there's a
Was that
tiny
the end play, darling?
Hear it?
Yes.
It's the end play in the bearing and a bit of side play, tiniest amount. So until we get back to somewhere where I can buy a 23 mil socket, I'm going to leave the bearings alone because I don't want to try and start bodging it. So for the time being, I'm just going to pull it apart for the 555th time and replace the cracked little plastic component.
I think you can do this in your sleep now, can't you?
Pretty well. It's a screwdriver. So I've got a part now, and you can see playing the bearing a lot better here. So that's how much play we've got, which is not the best situation, but it'll be fine until we get back to a city. So there you go. So there is the broken piece. So as you can see in here, that's my fix, the cable tie, a bit of glue, and the broken part. So while we've got it all apart, I'll replace this as well. These two sort of go together, that sits in there, and that all goes straight in. So that's what we'll do. As you can see here, I'm taking the stator off the housing because I reckon this alternator was designed by an engineer, because to replace the brushes you have to take the stator out. So we're just going to take the stator out. So to get access to this one here, this little nut here, which we need to undo to get the brush housing off and the brushes, you need to take the stator out. So definitely designed by an engineer, not a service person. And if I was at home, of course this would get a full clean and paint, but because I don't have those facilities on board here, we do have compressed air, but it's not going to get a clean. It's only going to get a minor clean. There's our broken part. That's what a new one looks like.
Oh, it's not focusing. There we go.
So there she is, our fix. We drilled that hole, put the cable tie around the whole lot, and it's held it together beautifully for a month or 2 months. And 1,000 odd miles. Good fix. As you can see, she's pretty worn. Not much left. That should be, well, the new ones are about that long, about an inch long. So it's pretty worn. And that I'll replace because, as you can see, these are a bit knackered. I'll keep this as a spare, but I'll also replace it. There we go. Now these bolts, these little puppies, machine screws actually, because they're not bolts. As you can see, they're mild, well no, they're the brass, or brass coated mild steel because they're rusting. But there you go into an aluminium or alloy housing, right? And of course, you get the old dreaded electrolysis happening. So I always like to coat, you've seen me do before, is to coat everything in a bit of grease. Or anti-seize or anything like that, but grease is just as good. And this, the fellow who had the boat before us left about eight tubes of this on board. I've become a real fan of it. Synthetic grease, I've never used it before, but it's awesome. So yeah, it's not messy, it's clear. I wouldn't use it for greasing up like a main bearing or anything, but for this sort of stuff and for stopping rust, like in padlocks, I use it on all the padlocks to stop them rusting. I use it, I've gone through about 3 of the tubes already. So yeah, great stuff, I can recommend it. Anyway, back to this. As you can see, I was talking about the pin before, how we have to put a pin in. So this came with one, so I'm going to keep that because it's a good pin. And the pin goes out through this little hole here. Now, I can get to the rear bearing, but because we're in a pretty remote location here, there's no mobile phone, there's nothing, I'm not going to start replacing bearings in case I crack housing or do something stupid. So even though I could replace it, I'm not going to right now. Whenever you pull an alternator apart, one thing to keep in mind is that all these, on some alternators, fit together 4 different ways. So mark everything, right? And don't just mark it with one line, because one line can be confused with a crack, or not crack, but a scrape or something. So I always mark 3 lines. So you see 3 lines there? That corresponds with 3 lines there. 1, 2, 3. Which then in turn corresponds with 3 lines there. So then as I put it together, that everything lines up. So just a little tip from me. So now we'll grease this one up. Before I started disassembling this, I took quite a few photos with my camera because I wouldn't have taken them with a soldering iron. To just, in case I ever get stuck putting it back together, not knowing which piece goes where, I've got a photographic record of it. These are all plastic components, they're very brittle plastic. So just tight enough. You don't want to go overboard. I'm tightening them up.
How did that go?
It was a bit of a difficult job to get it in, but we've got it in. And I've measured and there's no shorts. So it all looks good. I did an alternator repair once and put it all back together, put it back in the truck, and still wouldn't work. And I'd replaced everything and it still wouldn't work. And when I came to pull it apart again to check what I'd done wrong, I forgot to take the pin out, which holds the brushes onto the slip rings. So, well, the pin holds the brushes off the slip rings. So once you pull that out, the brushes pop back down with the spring tension, and it works. So, yeah, little tip: don't forget to take the pin out before you put the end plate back on. Voila!
All done?
She's all back together. I love the way the spacers on these. They use for the end cap. They use 3 stainless steel nuts, and I thought it was something someone had bodged, but I've got another one of these alternators that I found on board the other day, and it's exactly the same. It's got 3 bolts, but it's got a different pulley on it, so I can't use it because I can't get the pulley off. So you've got another spare one of these. So we've got 3.
Well, it started. Is it working?
Yep. We're putting in 80 amps. We haven't done that for a long